Hello, welcome to the first tutorial of the Matrix Recrafted channel. So this video will aim to introduce some basic elements of map creation through this tutorial setting. Mainly, I'll be talking about events, chain command blocks, and how you can use structure blocks to make events repeatable. So, well, this is the computer, and this is going to be the event. Now, the event, essentially, what I wanted to do is if I walk in this area, this green rectangle, this green square, pardon, I will gain, in brief sequence, a diamond and then an emerald. So these are just placeholder events. Sorry for this. These are placeholder events which are dictated by these command blocks. So I get a diamond and I get an emerald. Now, you can replace this with anything you want. You can replace this with a text message. You can replace this with an enemy spawning or whatever. But they're just placeholders to show how an event works. And, well, a lot of things in maps, you want to walk into an area and something to happen. And the way the commands are structured is a little bit complicated. It's a lot less simple than just a /give command or /tp command, or just a linear sequence of command blocks. But it's not that hard either, and I want to show how you can do this reliably. So the main command is this here. Now it's the execute positioned if. Now execute if is essentially your programmer's if clause from any coding language like Python or Java has if, and execute allows you to use if, because execute is essentially a way of saying that you're going to run a command based on certain conditions, and one of these conditions is the if, and as a result you can use this to make if statements. Now in this case, we want for when this happens, we want for this to happen. So if I'm there, that happens. And unfortunately, you can't just have that as simply because what you want to happen is for the game to check if you're there. And for you to check if you're there, you want a repeating command block. And a repeating command block checks every tick for if you're there. And then you want that to not just send a signal every tick if you're there. You want it to send it once and then trigger the command once. This reward for the event, you want it to happen once. You don't want it to happen every tick like this thing checks. So you need to have a few precautions in case. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get to detecting. Now, to detect, you have two parameters, main parameters at least. You have the position and you have the entity position delta. And mainly the position is you want the position to be the corner of a square. And the delta is actually the width, the length, and the height of an invisible square in which the player can be detected. So in this case, representing this with glass, if the player walks into this glassed area, I want the game to run that command. So I want the width of it to be 3 blocks. I want the height to be 3 blocks. And I want the length to be 3 blocks. So that's the dx/dz. Now, as you can see, these are positive values, but they're actually positive. They're not positive negative. So if I am here on 8 minus 12, if I'm on 7 and my if I'm on 7, which is 7 here, and my dx is a value of 2, it's not going to detect me here. It's going to be detect me if I'm here, because my x here is 8. So if I want the dx to be 2, it's going to detect me at at x9 and x10. It's not going to detect me at x7. For that, dx has to be -1. So to simplify things, you also always want to pick the corner in which, if you go in the directions you want to go in that rectangle, you want the direction to be positive. So in this case, this corner is good, because if I go here, x grows to 6. And if I go here, z grows from -12 to a positive value, which means it increases. So you want it to be at the lowest valued corner, so that in whichever direction you go, it increases, and as such, you don't have to run into any problems using negatives. So in this case, this coordinate here, if you want to find it really quickly, just do set block, this, it pointing at the block that you want to be picking, delete this, Control A, Control C, and this gives you the exact coordinates you want, and you put them as the root of your detection rectangle, detection solid, whatever you want to call it, the area that you're going to be detecting. And then we have previously said that my dx wants to be 2 in all directions. I'm going to leave y as dy as free, because player might be jumping. And this gives me the command I want. Now, to check for it, an easy way to do that is to just put it here on the execute. Put a block of redstone under it. And this should... Now, the second part of the command, sorry, that I kind of skipped over that. This will run the command as the nearest player at the nearest player. So this essentially just makes sure that the command runs, because whenever the player is loaded, this command is going to run, which is always. So the event will always run as long as the command block and the player are loaded in. It doesn't have to rely on anything else, like another entity. And then you run tellraw this, and this essentially spams your text chat with a message every time the conditions are met. So in this case, if I go here, it's going to spam move test. And this shows that the event is running, it's working, but I actually purposefully made a mistake here, in the sense that if I click E here, you can see that the boundaries are off. And by off, I mean I am outside of the thing, and it's not giving me the right thing. It's running the event when I don't want it to be running. And this is problematic, because obviously you want it to be running where you want it to be running. And this is a problem here as well. So this shows a problem with the execute command, in the sense that the distance thing is not always like it seems. If you put it as 1, it works decently well. Actually, we're just going to have to do this, copy this, and now it should be running well. So if I go here, it spams my chat. If I go here, it's not doing anything, like E. But if I go here, it's actually not executing. It doesn't execute on the corners. But if you go to the middle, it does execute. So you can fine-tune this. You can make them decimals. You can make this like 0.5. But I am not going to do that. Because it's really dependent to what you want to be doing. And you can just test it like this, do it until it works, and it should work fine for your scenario. This is just for testing whether it works or not. Now, when you have your command working, whenever the machine runs, and I've placed this as actually just setting this, because this is going to be the thing that starts your event. So now that this exists, it's going to happen, but if this is just a redstone block, it's not going to happen. And essentially, oops, left music on. Oh, master volume is off. Hang on, my bad. Sorry. Yeah. So now that you have this running, and the event only runs when you have it active, when you want it to be running. The next thing you want to do is make it so that when the event conditions are met, you run the rest of your machine. And the first thing that you actually want to do when the conditions are met is you want to make it stop searching. And you do that by making this a terracotta block again. I'm using red terracotta. By the way, you select the coordinates by clicking tab. But I'm using red terracotta because it basically like tells me that there is or there will be a there was or there will be a redstone block there. It's just like just making sure you know where stuff goes, even when it's not there presently, but as a result of your programming, it will be there eventually. So I set this red terracotta. Why? Oh yeah, right. I wanted to so that when this happens, you set block this as redstone, because that makes your rest of the computer run. The reason I want this to stop happening as soon as possible is because this event keeps, as I said, this keeps searching as long as this is active. And this builds up on the background of your computer, and if you have many things searching at the same time, you're going to have a problem. And especially, there can be problems depending on what you're using this for. Like, if you don't shut it down immediately, it might try to, like, do the event, the outcome of the event multiple times, and that can screw over things really badly. So you want to make sure that the very next tick that it confirms that the thing happened, that was there, that the event was successful, you want to disable the event, or at least the search for the event. And now that you've done that, you use something called a chain command block. Now, a chain command block works by checking if the command block directly below it, that has an arrow pointing towards it, has run a command. And if that is the case, it will run its own command. So in this case, if I just disable this, I don't do anything, because what I did was I checked someone is there, disabled the check, and then not done anything. But if this runs right after this runs, I can make it so that I start another part of the computer, and then that runs independently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this, set this as a redstone block. So now that our event is quote-unquote complete, all I need to do is go here, start the event. Now, what will happen when I go here is that this will activate this, which disables this. It will also activate this after this activates, which then activates this. And then this runs the rest of my computer. And I can prove this by just walking over here. I get a diamond, I wait a bit, and then I get an emerald because there's a small delay over here. So yeah, this is how the event works. And disabling this, you can make anything out of this. You can detect when an enemy is here and, I don't know, give them an item or something. Now, the reason why you want this block to be, you don't actually need it to be on this. You can actually make it so that it's here. Now, the problem with that is that chain command blocks behave weirdly around repeat command blocks, because remember how I said that like they activate every time, they keep searching every time? This thing doesn't actually, it only checks when you run the command. It doesn't actually check if the command is successful. So if I were to put a chain command block on here that has the tell raw command, which is the chat message command, which I'm going to grab from the clipboard right here. if it has this command here and I start this, it will run every tick, which is a problem because every tick this searches, and so every tick this runs. If you ever wanted to make it so that this thing runs only if this was successful, use the conditional option, because now this is fine and it'll run test once. This is the only reason you'd actually ever use a conditional. If this is like this is a repeating and you want this to be on top here. It's just like it's not going to be effective on this computer. It's just proof of concept. If you ever wanted to actually do this, this is how you do it. I'm not actually going to be using it. So now you run into a problem, you see, that I have to keep resetting this manually. And if you ever have a computer and you have to reset everything manually, or at least you have something at the end which refreshes every single redstone block, that is a bit of a problem. And so one of the things that we actually implemented in the Matrix Recrafted that we haven't really seen anywhere else, probably other people probably have used it, is that you use a structure block to save everything. Now that everything is done and dusted, you know that the event works, you have tested the machine to see if there are no problems with it, you come over here and you use the structure block. Now the structure block has two modes that we're interested. It has two modes that we're interested. The first one is the save. And the save essentially allows us to copy a part of our world and store it in the world as a file. And the load command allows us to place that file in anywhere else or within the same spot. And what we're going to do is we're going to save this computer in its default state, which is unpowered. And then whenever we wanted to return to this state, because you want to repeat this event, you load the structure on the same spot it was. And this allows you to keep running the map as many times as you want identically. So how do you do this? Well, there are two ways of doing it, actually. The first one is manually. Now, what I'm going to do is just make it so that there is that is a bit too big. A small cube here. Now, as I've said earlier, we currently are... You can check the XZ coordinates. We're in the positive negative axis. This means that if I want to go this way, which is further into this axis, I would want to increase X and decrease Z, make it more negative. So if I want to move this cube towards this direction, I add this and subtract this, and this will move it here. So basically what you want now is to tinker around until it is covers the entire thing. So I actually want to make this 0 so it sinks to the floor, so it covers the floor as well. I want to make its width 2. I want to move it one further there. Then I want to increase its length to like 17, I think. And then now you like compensate that here. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a bit over. You increase its height so that it fits. The whole thing is in. And then you save it as like dummy 2, because this actually isn't the first time recording this. And you save it. And then you set it to load on standby. Now, let's just leave it simple with a button. And so, when we run this, let's run the event once. Diamond, emerald. Click this, click that, run it again. Super simple. You can do this for areas of like, what is the maximum size on this thing? Like, 48, 48, 48. You can make massive computers. Obviously, that's going to take up storage, but you can make absolutely massive structures, and you can save them really well. And the good thing about this is that even if you destroy this, it's now saved in your memory. So you can just go dummy2. Did I goof it up? Oh, right. It prepare. You need to click load for it once to prepare. And then I'm going to readjust the position by making it 2 and minus 17. Oh, and it was 0. And then you have your structure saved. And you can do this to make several backups of your computers just in case you're paranoid. And you can then just load it. Then that's perfectly fine. Now, the problem is that you can't actually load these computers elsewhere because sometimes you want to target stuff that is inside the computer using these command blocks and the coordinates screw up. So, yeah, just make sure you don't actually move them anywhere else without changing the coordinates in the structure blocks themselves. Obviously, you can make it so that these are like, I don't know, tilde something, so that it's always relative to the command block's position and not their actual coordinate, but that's a bit complicated, and you can avoid that by just not moving the command blocks. Let me change this. Yeah, it's been 11. So yeah, that's pretty much it for structure blocks. Now, the second way you can actually save stuff, just cover it at the end here, is you can use the third form of a structure block called a corner block, which is a bit outdated, but whatever. You go dummy3, and then you dummy3, sorry, and you click detect. Now, the problem is it takes the upper corner of this and the bottom corner of this, so you might want to just make a small adjustment in structure size and structure position, but then it's perfectly fine, and you just save the entire thing. And you actually saved a lot of time by just like not having to make trial and errors. So this is an excellent way of actually saving structures. Just remember to adjust stuff because it's not perfect. But yeah, just save that. Now the thing is that if you click stone, if you activate this with redstone, it only if you activate a save on redstone, like a button or a redstone block, it only saves that structure on RAM. It doesn't actually save it in your map or in your world download. So just keep that in mind. It won't be permanently saved. Now you can do that to make some really goofy stuff, like you save stuff that is like save like an area of the map and make that area like personalized to your playthrough, but yeah, it's up to you if you want to use this feature or not. But yeah, that's mostly what I wanted to cover. Structure blocks being used to reset stuff. The execute command being extremely helpful for finding where if a player goes to a certain region. You obviously can make it so that it's an execute unless, which means that if the player is not in this area, you do something to them or you don't do something to them. Yeah, because of course you have different kinds of command. You have unless, which is essentially like you could use it as an else or something. Yeah, there's a lot of potential. I just wanted to cover the basics really of what makes a computer run. You can make a lot of stuff with this. A lot of scene 4, scene 1 is made using this exact structure. So, player goes somewhere, something happens, continue the story, and then later on, just make it so that it activates this, checks until the player progresses again, do this over again. It's really simple. I'm going to do a video, probably going to publish another video just showing how this is integrated into the map, and yeah, but mostly this is how we made computers in the map, and it's just a really fun and simple way of just creating an event within your computer, within your Redstone computer, obviously. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found this helpful. And yeah, just check out the other videos to see the custom map itself, and yeah, consider subscribing because we'll continue with this project as time goes by.